Hey guys, 412 Sports Cards here today, back from another video, and today I'm going to be talking about something a little different. It's going to be kind of rant-like, because I don't necessarily have a ton of these cards in person, but it's an important topic, and it's why I'm not likely to be buying cards with the intent of grading in the near future. So, I think this is a really important lesson. I'm going to be short and sweet with this video. An important lesson for all you guys who are prudent investors out there. Now, I'm a collector too, don't get me wrong. These jaws right here for my collection. And I'm not so much worried. I probably overpaid for that silver, to be quite honest with you, but I don't really care that much because I don't want to sell it. I just want to keep it because I love John Moran. Now, as an investor, I think that all of us who are investors in sports cards want to be careful with our money. The goals are to be, obviously buying on peaks and selling at the lows. Now that can be easier said than done, but I think that I would consider myself fairly in tune with the sports card market after doing this for 3 or 4 years, and I think that skill in being able to anticipate market movements is something that I brings me value and allows me to, for quote unquote without better phrasing, to make trades to sell a card and then in hopes of buying it later when it's cheaper if I'm interested in a player. That example kind of applies to Luka, which is why I made this video. So back in May, I made a video talking about how I bought some base Revolution and Optic Luka's Raw, and I was sending them in for grading. And I thought, what a great idea this has been. I'm going to make so much money if these can grade 9s or 10s. And I thought that it was genius. And it is true, I would have been making extra margin from grading. But I mean, I found that having those cards out for grading for so long, and especially with how long PSA takes right now, really handicaps my ability to use my knowledge of the sports card market to bring me extra returns as an investor. My Lukas are locked up. Personally, I think that Luka's at a short-term peak, maybe not a long-term, but I do think those cards have peaked for the short term. I think we should see some market correction in the near future, particularly if the season's canceled due to a player strike, which at the moment of recording is a very real possibility. I'm recording this Thursday morning. But yeah, I would be selling those Revolutions in 10s, which I probably have 2 coming back, either 9 or 10, and the 10s are $800. They were $300 10s when I bought that card raw for $60. I would be selling some of that, and in a time where I think the sports card market might be at a short-term peak, especially if the season's canceled, I wouldn't mind selling off some of that stuff to get some more cash to buy back in lower. I think that's personally, now you guys do with that information what you want. I'm not, a genius here. I've just been around for 3 or 4 years, and this is just my opinion. But I wish that I didn't have these cards out for grading so that I would be able to act on that intuition. Now, with that said, I think that it's not necessarily the case that you shouldn't be grading cards grading cards at all. I just don't think you should be targeting, mid to high dollar cards to be grading. I'm going to just, here, as I get together a couple examples, these are some cards that I still believe in buying to grade. RJ Barrett's, it's optics. I mean, the point here is that these are cheap cards. You're not going to see much price movement in a raw card of this, nor do I, and the bottom line here is that these are like $10 each, is I don't really have the faith in paying for a PSA graded copy. I don't want to be that much into RJ Barrett. I just want a couple small fringe bets. I can grade them. Maybe I can get me a little bit more in than I used to be. But the point is, these are okay. I mean, these are like $10 raw, like over 100 to 130 in a 10. I'm okay taking a gamble on a couple of these. It's a cheap card. I didn't want to be into the player that much anyway, so there's nothing wrong with it in that case. I mean, same goes for cards like this. These are cheap cards that aren't worth hardly anything. They won't hardly go up in value that much. Raw, and it's just worth a shot to grade to make them into something on players that you definitely would not want to be spending, $100 and some dollars a card on, at least for me personally. Now, Luka doesn't fit that same mold. I'll bring up a couple more examples. Guys like Luka, LeBron, Ja, these are guys that I definitely do have the confidence in to be buying higher dollar amounts. I did buy a lot of Luka. I should have just been buying it slab so I could have had flexibility as a seller, ability to take profits when I saw them. That's kind of what this boils down to for me. That the grading is great for your low dollar cards, for cards that you and guys that you don't want to be putting a ton of money in. It's perfect then. Absolutely perfect. And it is true, you can add extra margin from grading it and having the cards graded high. But for guys who you really believe in and you want to be able to maybe capture some of the highs and lows of their markets, it's best to not be buying raw to send in. You're either going to buy raw to sell or you're going to buy graded to sell. The raw to grade to sell is too long of a process and it ties up your money for too long, and I'm really learning that lesson right now because this has been a period of great market volatility, and we all know that's when investors make their most money, in periods of volatility. And having your money locked up in a time like that is not the best at all. So anyways, I hope that made sense. I mean, I kind of just went for it, but if you guys could really just show some support for the channel and drop a like, it really makes a difference. It helps my videos get more views, and it kind of means a lot to me. I really, really care about subscribers and views. It just validates the work that I'm doing. But anyways, like, comment, and subscribe, please, to show your support for me. And I hope you enjoyed. Any questions, drop them in the comments, and I'll catch you next time.